Welcome to the road to human kindness. I'm Wanda Myles, and we're going to jump right into this. One of the very few teachers that I've had in my life that have brought me more peace than anxiety, and I love to welcome you to the show. Finally, Kiki Ellenby. It is finally the chance that we get to bring you and TM Miami to the road to human kindness, which is Route 664, and I know that you've got a lot going on right now, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So let's jump right in. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And that introduction was, thank you. I'm honored.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really, truly, I can count on one hand the teachers that have brought me more
Uh,
peace than, yeah, awesome. And I have been, I guess it's been 2 years now and I started in the midst of the pandemic with TM. So I'm going to let you tell people exactly Transcendental Meditation Miami. You are the heart and brains of the operation, amongst other things. I mean, we could delve in all the things that make you such an interesting human being, but let's start with TM. Tell us about TM.
okay, great. Well, I personally have been practicing TM since 1971, and I've been teaching it since 1974. And I feel very privileged to teach it because I see it work. I see people's lives transformed in front of my eyes. That sounds like, oh, how can that be? But honestly, if a person does the technique twice a day, like they're supposed to, they're going to get results. It's that simple. The beauty of TM is that you can do it anywhere. You do not have to even have a quiet place or, a private place. It's nice to have both those things, but it's not required. It's a simple mental technique that is practiced for 20 minutes twice a day. For adults, there is a program for children. They meditate a shorter time, but for an adult, a person meditates first thing in the morning when they wake up, and then sometime late afternoon, early evening, they do it again. It's not done before bed because it is energizing. And the reason we do it in preparation for our activity is because we're not really just sitting there for the sake of meditation to feel good. We're meditating to prepare ourselves for whatever activity we have throughout the day, whatever we do, whatever our job is. And then sometime again later, we meditate again in preparation for our evening activities. And it's through this alternation of rest and activity and deeper rest and more dynamic activity that we are actually culturing our physiologies to maintain this restfulness even in the midst of dynamic activity. And think about it. If you could actually be rested even while acting, you're not going to be accumulating those stresses that you accumulate now. This technique came from a very ancient tradition, not a religious tradition, it's a tradition of knowledge. It came from a tradition called the Vedic tradition, and the word Veda itself means knowledge. It's been passed down for thousands of years. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi brought this technique to the Western world as we have it today as TM, and he came to this part of the world early in the 1950s. He passed away in 2008. He has a wonderful successor whose name is Dr. Tony Nader, and he is the global head of the entire TM organization. He's a medical doctor. He has a PhD in brain and cognitive science. He is a wonderful human being, and he oversees the global organization because it is a nonprofit educational global organization. TM is everywhere in the world. And to do it, there is a 4-day course to learn it, and not the whole day. It's about an hour each day over 4 days. And after that, you're an expert. But we do have a follow-up program for people to always support their experiences and make sure they're always comfortable with the technique. But the real word that really distinguishes TM, not just from every other form of meditation, but from every other form of physical and mental development, is the word effortless. And funnily enough,
Oh,
how to be effortless.
breaking
So
up.
that's where I come in.
There you go. We
Oops.
lost you for a second. You're breaking up a little
Oh,
bit.
okay. Is
It's
this
all good.
better?
It's all good. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we'll go with it. We go with the flowage as always. But I know that you guys are, or we are. I'd like to say we are. We're working on spreading it around the world, and you're working with first responders with Meditate America. I watched the whole episode with who's the actor? I forget his name, but anyway,
Hugh Jackman.
lots
Hugh
of
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, there we go. Lots of, and
Yeah.
the award went to Maria Shriver. I mean, lots of great folks are involved in TM. Paul McCartney, David Lynch is the David Lynch Society. So there are lots of folks. But I wanted you to talk a little bit about what you're doing with getting the first responders up to speed with meditation and what you're doing here in Miami, particularly.
Okay, great. Well, around November, a program was launched called Meditate America, and it was to get as many people meditating as quickly as possible to really, hopefully, change the whole environment. But the David Lynch Foundation, which is a very philanthropic organization, developed a program through Meditate America called the Lifeline Project, offering TM to first responders, for firefighters, veterans, or at-risk groups, people, nurses on the front line, doctors, people who are under high stress every day. And so they wanted to make it possible for these people to learn to meditate. And so we raised funds in Miami just through the generosity of people in the area. We raised funds to be able to teach first responders. We haven't started the teaching yet, but we have the Miami City Fire Department on board and also Miami-Dade County on board. So we're hoping to get that started in the next few months. So it's really a wonderful program. And, first responders are under tremendous stress. They have to be on their toes every minute. An alarm could go off at any time,
Yeah.
and they have incredible reaction time. And they also aren't just firefighters, they are mothers and
Doctors.
fathers and brothers, and they have their lives to live. And there's a tremendous amount of PTSD among firefighters. There's a tremendous amount of suicide. And sadly, that's not a good outcome. But this program, the TM program, has been very effective in helping people with PTSD and reducing all those negative things in people's lives. You don't have to have been in combat to have PTSD.
True.
It's caused from all kinds of different traumas, and women in shelters, children who've been exposed
Yes.
to terrible things. Yes. And, but firefighters, people, first responders have a very high rate of it. And, even during COVID, we did a special program for doctors and nurses on the front lines who you don't expect that groups like that would have PTSD. But at the height of COVID, they were showing tremendous signs of depression and anxiety and suicidal traits during the height of COVID. So the David Lynch Foundation at that time developed a program to make it possible for people, healthcare workers on the front line. And it was very, very successful. And we actually did a study that was published in 2019. We did the teaching. And then by 2023, there was a study that was published that was very positive about the results from that within 2 weeks, people were showing a tremendous decrease in anxiety and depression.
So where
So,
can people find out? I mean, if they want to, obviously we're on the World Wide Web, so they just go to TM. Where do they go to find out more about how they can learn the practice?
yes, tm.org is the best place to go. Funnily enough, though, I would say most people still find out about TM from word of mouth. Somebody tells them they've
Yeah.
done it, and then they go to, tm.org. Also, I find that these days people have tried many different kinds of meditation. And
Really?
when they come to TM, they're so relieved that it's so easy.
Yes.
Everything has its value, everything is wonderful on one level. But TM again is simple, natural, easy, effortless. It can't really be overemphasized how, as you know, how easy it is.
Mhm.
So that's really the difference.
Now,
And
did you open the TM Miami? You along with your husband, Mark? Yes. Did you guys start the center?
so I started in 2007. I had been teaching for a long time, but took a lot of years off to have kids. But in 2007, I opened a center in South Miami. and I was there till 2016 when I moved to my current location in Kendall. But there have always been TM teachers in Miami since way
Okay.
back when, early
Okay.
70s.
All
Yeah.
right. We're going to take a maybe a U-turn or a sharp turn just to talk a little bit about you because I find it so interesting. You guys have a farm here, and I was just telling my mother how good turmeric is. So another wealth of health that you're giving to our community here. Talk to me, and we talk a lot about legacy. So you guys have the farm, you have the turmeric juice. What are we calling? What are you guys doing? So let's talk about the farm of the LNB farm.
Okay, great. Well, in 1978, we moved down here and we found some land. And by 1980, we had planted a lot of trees and we didn't even have any kids yet, but we had some property in Homestead in the Redlands, and we
Mhm.
were growing tropical fruit. And even in 1980, people had tropical fruit trees in their backyards, but it wasn't really a commercial industry. And even today, even though there's a lot of acreage all over South Miami, South Dade, it's still not a huge commercial industry like California, which has
Yeah.
many different kinds of
I
things.
live in the Redlands. I love it here.
Yeah. My husband got excited. My husband, Mark, he actually has a degree in horticulture, and I just kind of learned by osmosis. But he got real excited a few years ago about turmeric, which you grow under the ground instead of on top of the ground. And
Okay.
it's kind of hurricane proof in that sense. So, because we were farming in Hurricane Andrew and got slapped pretty hard, but did recover. But he's always looking for new crops and things that do well in this area. And as you know, in Florida, or it's either, it's very hot or it's very wet or there's a tremendous amount of disease pressure. And I think what's kept us afloat is meditation because we are flexible and adaptable and resilient, which you have to be in farming because it's kind of like gambling. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
but
we feel
talk
very, very fortunate.
talk to me about the turmeric. I mean, the health
Well,
benefits of
turmeric,
turmeric.
I'm not an expert, but turmeric
Okay.
has many anti-inflammatory properties. It's supposed to be good for just about everything. Our
Yeah.
doctor turns the fresh turmeric, it's organic turmeric. She presses it and cooks it a certain way and turns it into something that she calls a tonic. And she has a outlet near the zoo, not
Right.
far from where she's opened on the weekends. And people can actually find her on Instagram at LNB Grovestand, the letters LNB. So she
That's
has that weekly. And yeah, people know about turmeric. As a matter of fact, if you go to the grocery store these days, you're seeing turmeric in everything. I've even
yeah.
seen um, chocolate covered turmeric. So it's very, very popular. Much of it is imported from far away, so has those
Hmm.
food marks on it, but we grow it locally and it is very easy to grow in Florida. And we love growing it. We have had great results with it.
So the kids have taken over the farm.
Almost. Our son, who's our youngest, he is now running our farms. My husband's still training him, but he's doing great. And two out of three of our daughters also are involved in the farm on different aspects of it. So we feel very fortunate. And the one that doesn't live here is still very involved as well.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah, we feel
Awesome.
very. Mhm.
And I know that you do have family in still for the holidays. So I'm going to let you get back to your family, but I do appreciate your time. And oh, wait, did I, just really quick, I want to talk about your mom. Can you give me that little story again? Because you're so fascinating. Tell me about your mom a little bit, how you used to hang out with like great rock stars and celebrities when you were a kid. That's so cool.
So
Love
I
it.
grew up in Chicago, and my mother and her mother were actually born there. My mother was born in 1925 and spent her whole life in Chicago, was very dedicated to the city and the arts. And she eventually became the commissioner of culture for the city of Chicago. When I was younger, she was involved in the arts as well. And we had some pretty wild people at our home in and out of my childhood. But I remember there were times where Dizzy Gillespie was playing in my living room.
I always say that I want to be Lois Weisberg when I grow up.
Congratulations, Lois, for all you've done to promote culture and the arts right through the years. You're wonderful. Thank you.
So she had a tremendous influence on the city, and she believed in public art, in free art. People should be able to go to spaces and see art for free. And so she was amazing. She did pass away in 2016, but she was an amazing woman, and everybody in Chicago just about knew who she was.
I appreciate your time so much. And you're like the poster child of what we're trying to do here. Just all the great things that we can do when we get involved in our community and through nonprofits, and just passing it on to our kids. The legacy that you've left for your kids and your grandkids is just phenomenal. I mean, they have a pick of the arts, horticulture, growing things, meditating. Your grandkids are just like super kids. So I'm going to let you get back to them.
Thanks. And we have 2 more on the way for this
Excellent.
year.
How many? How many do you have now?
I only have 3, but we have 2
okay.
more, one being born in February and one going to be born in May. So we're real excited about that.
All right. Give me the websites again for TM.
TM.org. That's it. Everything is there. And there's intros, introductory lectures, and you can find me through there. You just put in your information and they'll send it to me. I have intros by Zoom every Wednesday night at 7:30. So, everybody's always welcome. The intros are free, and the TM website is very, very wonderful. There's a ton of information there.
And how about some of that turmeric tonic? Where can we find that?
You have to go to on Instagram, go to the letters LNB Grovestand, and that's my daughter's business, and it'll come up with all kinds of great pictures, and it'll have her hours and location and everything. It's down about 5 minutes from the zoo, Miami Zoo.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all you've done for me and what you do for us here in Miami and TM across the world. And I hope to see you soon. All right, get back to the family.
All right.
I'll get up there soon enough.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Exciting news. The Discovery 664 Academy podcast is live on Spotify. And if you're not following us there yet, you're missing out. We're dropping new episodes every week, so don't miss out on more of the most powerful strategies to grow wealth through charitable planning. This is what we're all about on this program. When you tune into the Discovery 664 channel, you're going to see podcasts that will enlighten you and keep you up to date on how to deal with your charitable financial planning and to do the best job you can to build yourself your own 664 account. That's what's the end result of what we're trying to do here. We want you to endow yourself and then endow the community. That's what the bargain was when Congress gave us these laws in 1969. Do something good for the community when you pass, and we'll give you lower taxes while you're alive. That's what the bargain is, and that's all we're trying to teach you. Go to the 664 Discovery channel and find out more.
Once upon a time, in a town quite grand, lived Eleanor with a sharp mind and a steady hand. She had an eye for detail. Numbers were her game, and as she neared life's twilight, she sought lasting fame. One day, fate smiled with a windfall so bright. Eleanor saw a chance to set things right. She found Section 664, a tax code so rare. But for Kratz and Krutz, you're gonna need an engineer, an endowment engineer, savvy and wise. She crafted a plan, a legacy in disguise, a trust for her grand-twins, income to provide. But with a twist, they must serve, and must they, with pride. The twins took the challenge and they ran with glee, establishing a center, a place for all to see. For animals and seniors, a haven of care, a place where love and kindness would flourish with flair. So remember, dear friends, as you navigate life, social security can ease your strife. With a heart full of giving and a mind so keen, you too can create a legacy unseen. Plan, prosper, pass on. That's the power of 664.
Transcendental meditation.
There you go.
Meditation, not medication. Meditation.
Yeah.
Better than medication.
Absolutely better.
Does a lot of things much better. So that's all. That's what you can do if you are
interested in peace.
In love with the world. You can make things happen. She's an amazing lady.
She is. I love talking to her every time. It's always a great conversation.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you've taken the course, and you're meditating.
I started, like I said, I realized it's been 3 years now. I started in the middle of the pandemic because I remember having to wear a mask to go there, but it seemed like a great time to find some peace.
Be introspective. Do you think everybody should do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are all kinds of meditation, but TM is really just the simplest, and not a lot of, you don't have to sit in any poses, and you don't have to have your crystals and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you're given a mantra, and your teacher will give you your mantra when you get there. And it's something that you just say over and over until you kind of get down into that quiet.
So it's like, the thing, I think men have an easier time of that. They say that the men's brains are different than women's brains,
Well, that's for sure.
Because men, they have the nothing box. Men can go into that nothing box and not think about anything. And that's like getting into that meditation mode.
I don't know that that's true or not, but I think, it's good for everyone. The teachers are both genders. So,
yeah.
But it was originally a male that brought it here. So who knows?
Yeah. I think the concept of avoiding the PTSD and finding ways to help get rid of whatever crazy feelings people have may be a better way to do things, huh?
Well, the key is to help you deal with those thoughts, and not to, when you're in meditation, you have the thoughts and they come and they go, but it's just not resisting them and not fighting them, and just letting them, like a movie, like a passing, that just kind of go, and not let them overtake you as much as they can. And it's helped a lot of folks through their PTSD symptoms.
And human kindness is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
That's what we want to do, is create human kindness, and being kind to yourself is the first step, I think.
That is. Put your mask on first.
Yeah, and be aware of yourself, and that helps you. Transcendental meditation gets you inside your brain, figure out who you are sometimes.
Yeah, and then I love her
good to know who we are.
Yeah, and it helps you be a better citizen in the community. I mean, I love everything that they've done with the farm, and still creating a place for you to get wellness and turmeric.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, they can do things, but I'm not sure how they do them without raising money. Do they charge for what they do?
You mean the farm?
Yeah. Well, I know they charge for the.
They have the stand, the Grovestand, where they're making the tonic, but they sell the turmeric tonic concentrate. I don't know. You go to the website, go to Grovestand. Right. LNB Grovestand.
And what about the course? The courses are free?
The courses aren't free. Mm-hmm. I think the initial to introduce you to it and see if it's something you want to do, of course, will probably be free, but you can look that up on the Tubes of You and find out more about that.
They have those weekly Zoom meetings that are free, yeah.
But you do have to, but there's a sliding scale available for folks to
So make it easy to afford.
It does.
Good.
So. But it's worth it. Mm-hmm. And, people always say, it's always the first thing, I don't have time for that. But you get time back. You get time, you're more focused, you sleep better, and you're not wasting your time as much.
Time is actually expansive. That was a theory that time is actually much greater than you think it is. We just don't recognize it as such because we're constantly looking at it. It's like a weird dichotomy almost. I'm worried about time, but time is so broad that you never really have to worry about it.
Time is a funny thing. Time is just it's a human concept, really. When you're younger, it seems like an hour is forever, but when you're older, it's like a minute. Like an hour just like flies by. So time is just relative, I think.
When you get older, it's actually the years fly by,
yes.
Unfortunately. But that's the way it is. We lost a very, I would say, a transcendental meditator in a way. Jimmy Carter was that kind of a president. He was it's an unfortunate loss, but
100 years is quite some time.
He had a blessed life, yeah. And he did a lot of things that were involved here with human kindness. That's one of the things we stress, especially his Carter
Center.
The Carter Center.
We talked to someone, I can't remember his name, from the Carter Center, Barry. Barry Nicholsburg.
And he was quite a person, quite humanistic, human kindness, all about the things that we're talking about. He believed in people working to help each other and end poverty, disease, protect the earth, things we're talking about.
And he was a naval officer, and he was a farmer.
Yeah, and the president.
And the president.
Pretty amazing, yeah. So all of those things are relative to what we're doing.
Absolutely.
With economics, we're in. So again, stressing that we're in an economic world, and we need to know how to solve problems in an economic fashion that benefits us individually, where we know what to do financially ourselves, and that's why we've created the podcast and Discovery 664 Academy. Discovery664.com. Those podcasts are dropping all the time on Spotify, and I know that you're. Thank you for watching them. They're our way to help share what we're talking about, becoming an ambassador. Jimmy Carter was kind of a world ambassador, and I think the more of us that become that mode, where we become an ambassador to the world, and you can do that by helping yourself, which is really what this is all about. It's such a beautiful way to solve problems, using social charity, adding that to your Social Security. It will help you do better in the future. It will lower your taxes. It will give you more income. And eventually it will do something great for the community. And as you see what we, with Wanda's terrific interview.
The LNBs.
The LNBs, folks who want to help the community, want to help the world, doing simple things, but they're not simple unless you know how to do them and know where to go to get the education on how to do it properly for yourself. And so transcendental meditation is one way for you to get centered and figure out, what it is you want to do. And I think that you need to take a good look inside and see how you can do a better job of making your life better. And you can learn about that on our courses in the Ambassador courses that we have on the Discovery 664 Academy channel. And you can enroll and become an ambassador, a member of the ambassador community. We want you to become part of this larger community of ambassadors, people who are helping other people, helping the community at large do better things, and all of that without the interference of or the help from government, because that's not where we get it. That's where the disunification comes in, unfortunately.
They're a little busy.
Yeah, and it's not their job. So I want to make sure that you get a chance to check out on Spotify and watch the podcast at discovery664.com.
I'd like to also invite you to listen to some great music along the way while you're hearing these programs as well at route664.org.
And have a nice musical agenda for your transcendental meditation.
You can meditate when you're dancing. Again, all forms of meditation. I find that dancing around the room is great for your soul and helps you forget all your woes, and that is definitely happening at route664.org.
Yeah, be happy. Be happy.
Don't worry.
Okay, so last thing that I want to talk to you about is tax planning guide. How's that to end the story?
Oh, boy.
The tax planning guide is being put out by a lot of companies right now, about 2025 tax planning, quick reference guides, get your total information about how to do taxes. Great. Okay, this is what they want you to pay. This is what you will pay if you don't do anything not to do it. But you're not duty bound to pay the most that the tax code extracts. You can pay less by doing things smarter, and you can become an informed taxpayer, become somebody who is aware of how to use the most powerful sections of the tax code, work with an endowment engineer. The endowment engineers are trained on how to help you use those sections of the code properly. Once you know that they're there, that doesn't mean that you can use them on your own. You do need to have some guidance, and there are people now that do that. The Endowment Engineering Society is listing of people who are educated in this area and who have taken the course, who have become certified as endowment engineers. And we want more endowment engineers. We want to have enough endowment engineers to serve the public so that everybody can become more charitable and do the things that are done the right way. Thanks for joining us on Route 664, Road to Human Kindness. Thank you, Wanda, for the great interview.
No problem. How about that close?